funny is right when he said that, I thought that that was a great point. It's good to know that he's more aggressive, but even then, that doesn't get him off the hook, okay? Because that could still, just like, kind of like relating back to like Kim Potter, for instance, that was an accident, right? But she went down for homicide. Same thing here. He could be more aggressive, and that aggressive is so aggressive that it's criminal, right? So it won't just do it for him. And not only that, there's a number of patients. There's 14 patients that he's at least being charged with, and there may be more even. So, just mere aggressiveness alone is not going to do it.
Yeah, and that there's been a lot of talk about this case being very complicated, being difficult for jurors. It's gone on a long time. Well, you do have 14 victims, so you got to go through a lot of testimony. You got to deal with each one because each one is its own specific count. But at the end of the day, you heard the testimony there of one of the doctors, and there have been a number of doctors, Matthew, that have taken the stand that said very specifically that the combination and the amount of the drugs, whether it's micrograms, milligrams, who cares? The drugs that he put in them would have, any doctor would know, would have this result, and that result would be death. That, to me, makes this case fairly simple.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, there's reasonable medical certainty. He knew what he was doing, but the thing is, he has a really good defense in the sense that he's saying he's providing comfort care. He's exercising the discretion that a doctor would, given that predicament. And he's known to be more aggressive. So it really is complex. It goes both ways. And something you got to remember about this trial, it's very well defended. Okay, he has just the attorney for this kind of case. So I can understand why this case is lasting this long and why it's so complex.
Yeah, and you mentioned the defense attorney. It's Jose Baez. He's someone that we've seen from a number of other cases. Very, very talented attorney. And one of the ways that he's defending this case is he's putting some of the blame on the hospital. And we just had a trial today where we had a verdict where the defense did the same thing, and that's RaDonda Vaught. Now, she was convicted, but she was convicted on a lesser charge. And I'm wondering if, and I think in that case, that's why, one of the reasons at least, the jury decided to convict on a lesser charge, because there was a lot of blame to be had by the hospital. And I think that's one of the things Jose Baez is going to show here. The protocols and the systems in the hospital were partly to blame. Do you think that might have the same effect in this trial?
Absolutely, 100%. Actually, I was just thinking about that correlation during the break. And not only that, but this jury probably feels a sense of entitlement in the sense that they should set a precedent for doctors, in similar circumstances. So this case has deep cutting implications, just like that case with the nurse, in the sense that it's going to set a precedent of when we consider, too much, and it's going to draw a line in the sand of where we're going to convict you.
The question's going to become now, as the defense is going to begin their case next week, is this doctor going to take the stand? I'd love to get your thoughts on that. In my estimation, he really doesn't have much to lose. And I would think this jury wants to hear why he made the decisions he made.
Yeah, it's hard to say that he should, but in this predicament, if he is up for the task, I probably would put him on the stand. It could help him a lot if we heard from him directly, if the jury heard from him directly and connected with him. If they were able to do that, if he's able to take the stand and draw that out, he could really help himself out here.
Yeah, and a lot of people online have been suggesting that he has this weird look on his face, and I kind of agree with that. But all the testimony so far suggests, again, that he was a talented doctor. He obviously was Doctor of the Year at one point. He was well-liked. He supported other people, had good rapport with the family members. So he's someone with all those factors. Again, I don't know him personally, but when you start looking at factors as to why or why not you would put someone on the stand, all those things would play towards he's someone that might do well on the stand. He's also an educator as a doctor, so all those things I think play in favor of putting him on the stand.
100%, Michael. He's well accredited, and he's reputable, and that means that when he gets on the stand, at least to some extent, he's going to have the jury's respect. And that's big. You could use that a lot in being able to show his discretion and why he did what he did.
Yeah, you know, and that's the other thing I wanted to touch on, this idea. And if you know, or if you had experience representing doctors or trials with doctors, I think there's a certain level of respect, as you mentioned, that they get going in. They do take an oath. And I think that oath is very real for these folks. The doctors have a generally positive, give a positive feeling to jurors, to people in general. I think all those things play in his favor.
Absolutely. And I mean, Doctor of the Year, he was well liked amongst his colleagues. There's even some that, you know, that spoke pretty highly of him. So he has a lot going for him in taking the stand. And I agree with you. He has more to win and some to lose if he does bad, but he has more to win in the sense that he could turn this around for himself.
Yeah, I think at this point it's necessary because we've heard from all those experts saying that what he did was wrong. They wouldn't have made that decision. He needs to explain, I think, to this jury why he did what he did. All right, Matthew, stand by for a second. I want to touch